morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate you taking a few moments. If you want to follow along, Genesis chapter number 1, beginning in verse 26. Genesis 1, beginning in verse number 26. And we come now to the apex of God's creation. If you will, again, I ask you to like, share, comment on the post, and then we will look. I'm not going to read this whole section. We're going to look at verses 26 down through verse 31 today. I'll refer back to a few lines here and there, but I encourage you to read the whole passage yourself. Begins with God simply saying, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." In the past, God has just simply said, "Let there be light. Let there be, let's separate the water from the fire." He just spoke it. Here is more of an explanation. He says, "Let us make man in our image." The only thing he says this about of all of creation, that man was going to be created in the image of God. We have his spiritual nature. We have his a spirit about us, a soul about us that desires that relationship with him. And so he says that, and he says that man is to have dominion over all the fish, the birds, the livestock, the creeping things. That man is to be, again, the apex, the crown jewel of his creation. And verse 27 tells us that he did just that. That he created man in that image. And so again, we reflect that image of God. And he, from the beginning, I'll just throw this in for free, says he created them male and female. You'll notice there's just two, male and female, not male, female, and 77 more, or however many. He created male and female. So he established gender, he established a family, he established roles, he established authority, all these things established here in the Garden of Eden. And so he has laid that out at creation. And we see then what our task is. We are to represent him. Ultimately, we know that God has authority, but he has placed us here. Man is to rule here on earth. We are to represent him. We are his image. We are to represent him here on this earth, and to reproduce and to recreate, procreate here on earth. And so we do that through our fellowship with him. And we do that by being the men and women that he's called us to be. Verse 28, he tells us to be fruitful and multiply. We are to represent him. We are to reproduce others who will represent him. And ultimately, again, we are to represent his authority, to have that dominion over the things of this earth. And he comes down, he continues in this verse, and he tells us again that he's given us these things. He has put us in authority over them. They are to be food, and that he has given us these plants and things for food. And then ultimately we come to verse 31, and once again he breaks his pattern from the previous days of creation, when it says God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Not just good, as he's been saying, but now he says it is very good. Very good indeed. He has created these things. And again, he at this point, he could call it all good because everything was functioning and doing the job that God had called them to do. This was obviously before the fall of man, when man was still functioning as God intended. The rest of creation was still functioning as God had intended. Man was utilizing that dominion that is described there in verse 26. The animals, all the other elements, everything was working like clockwork, is the phrase we use, I guess, until we see the fall of man. And at that point, when it was in that state, God said, it's very good. Great lesson for us there. If we want to hear God say it's very good, we do things according to His order. We do things according to His plan, according to His system. We operate by His rules. That's that's why we hear Him say here, it's very good. I don't think if you'd have went to God after the fall, after Eve and Adam's decision, that God would have looked at what was going on and said it was very good. Why? Because they had violated, they had broken the agreement. I don't know about you, but I'd like to hear, what is that saying we say? That we'll stand before God and hear Him say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. How do we hear that? How do we hear Him say very good? By being obedient, by following His commands. You think about it. Have a good day. We will see you here tomorrow morning.